There is something extra special about gold nuggets. If you ever are able to find one or purchase one, I would suggest you keep it. There's something about the history behind the formation of that gold nugget in the ground or from wherever it came from in its natural state. I actually have one that came as a part of a collection for a silver coin, believe it or not. But I treasure it. I think it's fascinating to have a piece of gold that has a geologic history. But in this case, well, we have one that has disappeared, melted down. To me, that's the saddest part of gold's history, especially when it's related to a theft. I'll talk about that and so much more as we explore. What you're looking at here is extra special. This is actually not related to the story I'm about to share with you, but this is called the Welcome Nugget. And this is the replica of the Welcome Nugget. And we have the Welcome Stranger as well, too. But this one was discovered on June the 10th, 1858 by miners of the Red Hill Mining Company at Bakery Hill in Ballarat, Victoria. The original nugget weighed 2,217 troy ounces, so maybe this is the Welcome Stranger nugget. And if anybody knows for sure if that really still exists, let me know. I have a gold coin with it on it, but then nonetheless, it's something about it. It's pretty special. It sold for 10,500 pounds sterling, 21,000, of course, at the time of the printing of this particular sheet here. The nugget eventually made its way to London, where it was melted down in November of 1859. So there's that huge nugget there that's no longer available. It's gone. It's been melted down. And that's the one thing about gold. It can be reconstituted, but something about it in its original form, nothing can match it, such as this gold nugget here. An amazing thing indeed. Well, I'm going to be sharing with you a story here that is quite sad indeed, especially with what could happen. My only hope is that it will be recovered. A 2-pound gold nugget has been stolen from the Long Beach collectible show, coin and collectible show, and in California. I'm going to go through this here. This is from KTLA. A thief stole a gold nugget worth $82,100. That was the asking price for it. It's actually worth less than that. We'll get to that. I'll show you in the video here in a moment. And the Long Beach Police Department is asking for the public's help in tracking down the culprit and recovering the precious metal. In original form, I might add. I think that's an important factor of this. The nugget was stolen at about 11:45 a.m. just this past week from the Long Beach Convention Center on Ocean Boulevard, according to the Long Beach Police Department spokesperson Richard Mejia. According to the Convention Center's website, the 60th anniversary Long Beach Expo is held at that location this weekend. Many of my viewers are from California. I wonder if any of you were at that show and have heard about this, or maybe even seen this nugget while you're there. It kind of looks like a brain. You know, it's kind of crazy. So the collectible show caters to collectors of all kinds, aside added. Here's an image of the nugget from the police department, and there's a test hole that's been drilled. That shows it. We'll learn a little bit more about this nugget here in a moment, but there is the image of the nugget there. It is something else. Beautiful piece indeed. Nicely shaped, I think. Well weathered by, I guess, where it was found, and presumably in a creek bed, I'm not sure. But surveillance video captured a man apparently taking the gold from a display booth, and we're going to see that here in a moment. But yeah, can you imagine casually how it happens? But glad that there was some video capture of the theft. People have really fine-tuned the art of the sleight of hand, and many of these shows, we see that in casinos, and of course, even at shows like this, people have to be extra careful and extra diligent. Whether you are a coin dealer or a customer at a coin show, always be aware of your surroundings and watch people. It's crazy. Police did not identify the victim, but we know, we'll find out here who the victim is because they interview him. And so this is kind of a strange statement. I think it meant to say the suspect. Police did not identify the suspect. But a flyer asking for the public's help said anyone with information should call Bob Campbell of Robert Campbell Rare Coins of Salt Lake City. Campbell can be reached at that number, and a $10,000 reward is available for help in tracking down the precious metal, not just to anybody who can help, but you're going to wait till you hear about who else that reward is being offered to. We'll find out in a moment. The Nugget has a mass of 821 grams, which is more than 1.8 pounds, and it was reportedly found in the Yolo River near Weed, California, years ago, according to documentation describing the Nugget. And that is what makes this story all the more sad. Now, the sad part of this story is what we can infer as to what happened to the Nugget. It's not really been implied yet, but we know. I'll tell you about that in a moment. It's just under 90% pure gold, 6% silver, and 4% copper. That's pretty amazing. That is quite an alloy, natural alloy there. Heavy metal electrum for sure, with emphasis on the heaviest of the metal, 90% pure gold. All right, let's watch this. I know if I were to blow this up, it's very blurry anyway, so we're going to watch in this little inset. But check this out.
Strikes gold in Long Beach, and now the search is on for that thief who swiped a gold nugget worth.
I'm going to stop right there. Nugget. How many of you ever heard of a gold nugget? That's a little strange to me, but I guess let's continue.
More than $82,000. And tonight, a reward is being offered for any information that leads to an arrest.
KTLA 5 Shelby Nelson joins us live from Long Beach with the latest on this investigation. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, Sam and Court. Yeah, that person that stole that golden nugget is apparently walking around with an item that's worth more than $82,000, and the vendor is desperate to get it back. He even shared some surveillance video with us of the person who he believes is responsible. Now, we've blurred that person's face until we receive confirmation from Long Beach PD that that's the person they are looking for.
I'm glad they did that because, you're innocent until proven guilty. There's a lot, and you'll be able to see from the sleight of hand that by some odd chance it may not be that person. It could have happened earlier, or slightly earlier, or slightly later. We just don't know. But it's good to always be extra careful in that regard.
We've done what's called a specific gravity test, and we can actually know how much gold is in there by doing it, and then you use X-ray fluorescence and to tell the purity.
There's a certain science to it, figuring out just how much gold is in these rarities. But there's one piece that trumped them all. A gold California nugget, Bob Campbell says, was a mere 27 ounces.
It's an original piece probably from the 1849ers when they first were discovering gold in California.
That is important. Could have been an original piece from the 49ers. Dating back to that, it has not only geologic history, but also American history behind it. That is very important to know that it should be kept in this condition in case for sure, because, it's got history. It's a piece of history in your hand. I mean, imagine, it's like getting a rare gold coin. It was minted, that has a very limited mintage. Like, for instance, a 1933 Gold Eagle. Its melt value is something substantial with gold prices where they're at, but its historic value is much higher. I think this is one of those pieces.
Smaller than these two and much more pure.
The one that was stolen was in ancient floods, streams, so all the quartz had been banged out of it.
You heard him correctly. It was stolen, and by a person who didn't have to dig for gold, no mining involved, just swiping.
Where a perpetrator was able to get the case open and shove his hand in deep enough to grab a gold nugget.
Campbell says it happened Thursday morning at the Long Beach Coin, Currency, Stamp, and Sports Collectibles Expo, where he's been a vendor for decades, traveling all the way from his All About Coins storefront in Salt Lake City. Watch closely. You see one guy with what appears to be a black and yellow shirt checking out the display case. He looks to his left. He lingers for a second and then reaches over, Bob says, seemingly grabbing something from inside before his hand reaches for his pocket.
And you could see that. It was very, very subtle and slight. Not a lot of hand movement. And I think that was intentional and targeted definitely so that even a surveillance camera may not be able to catch that level of movement and detail from far away. He was hoping, but obviously they did catch it. At least they think they did, although we really don't know for sure, but it appears to be that he did. But I didn't really see him reaching under the display, but I guess he could have when watching that video. Nonetheless, you can see there that the camera was far enough away, but I guess with high resolution, you can zoom in, and that's likely what happened there.
And get this, as of that day, Bob says that nugget had a value of more than $62,000.
That's probably the melt value of the gold in it, 62,000, with 27 ounces or what have you. And so you think about it, it was the sale price on it was 82,000. But listen to what he says next.
His retail price?
This nugget here is valued at $80,000. This is what we were trying to sell it for. We were offered $75,000 for it.
He's hoping someone will recognize the person. Bob is offering a $10,000 reward, even to the thief himself.
That's right, offering it to the thief himself, which is actually smart. However, what he says next is not smart. But let me just back up a little bit. He's trying to preserve the integrity of the gold nugget, because a smart thief, if he was smart enough to steal it like that, maybe could have gotten away with it. No one was around to be able to watch him take it personally. Only the surveillance video from far away to be able to capture it was really fortunate and lucky in that sense. But if he was to make this offer, that means he wants to preserve the nugget's numismatic and geologic value, historical value, which is, I think, is much more important. But a smart thief would have taken that gold nugget and melted it down immediately, because it's recognizable. It's got its own fingerprint. We saw an image of it with the test hole. So if he wants to liquidate it and get the $60,000 worth of gold out of it, well, he's going to have to melt it down. Otherwise, it's going to be recognized. This is on a major local news outlet. So likely the word is out, as well as on social media and now on this channel. It would be smart to offer this reward back to him, that here is where he makes this mistake.
I'll give you a $10,000 reward.
You'll give him $10,000?
Sure, if he shows up. And I'll attend his hearings as he gets prosecuted too.
That's where he made a mistake. Immediately he says, here's $10,000 only for it to be taken back from you when you go and get prosecuted for the hearings. Now, obviously, I'm one of those that believes that you do the crime, you do the time. However, that's not much incentive. You could have offered the guy $1 million. If he's going to go and get prosecuted and go into jail, well, that money's going to be taken from him anyway. So it's kind of a moot point. I almost think it was just kind of to tease or what have you. But I tell you what, if there was a way that he could say, well, I'm not going to press charges, we'll work something out to preserve the unit, to preserve the integrity of the nugget, that probably would have been smarter to do, even if he didn't follow through. However, some criminals are not as dumb as you think. Although, there's something to be said for, well, you're dumb to even try to get into a crime like that anyway. But people do it all the time. So people have different views on how this could be handled. But there's no other nugget like this in the history of the earth. And considering how it was formed, where it was found, when it was found, is an important part of American history.
And Long Beach PD says that they are investigating this as a grand theft. In the meantime, for Bob, well, today is his 66th birthday, so we're hoping that he gets some good news sometime soon.
And there it is. Now, my hope is that police investigators find this person before he's able to melt it down. But likely that's not going to happen. If the owner were to offer him this money to get it back, it would be nice if it could be returned in its original form. I would like to see justice be done here, but who knows what's going to happen. But anyways, I thought I'd share this with you. I do have a whole series of videos called Precious Metal Crimes, and this one will certainly go in that playlist that I hope you will check out, because you see it all the time. Be careful out there. Keep your gold protected, keep yourself protected, and your family protected. That's the most important thing. So I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.